Good morning. You're welcome to another edition of Import Export Platform Facebook Live from 3 Team Pest Trade Academy. And my name is Dele Ayemibo. Sorry we could not do much over the weekend. We were back on Monday discussing our discussion or topic, AFCFTA, the what, the why, and how to export to Nigeria. And for the local and for Nigerians, the what, the why, and how to import to Nigeria. Remember, I've been talking a lot about the fact that foreigners are the one enjoying the benefit of Nigeria. They are the one able to do the shipment. And simply because they have been able to study and understand, they know the why already. Here is the market. They know the why already. But they've been able to study and understand what they need to do to take full advantage of the Nigerian market. For one reason or the other, we, the local, the national, have not been able to do that. They are the one taking advantage of it. The what, the why, and how to export to Nigeria. Nigeria is a big market, no doubt. Over 200 million people ready to consume. So, people import raw materials, people import finished products, people import different things into Nigeria. And I'm saying, you as a Nigerian can take full advantage of this. This is a very long series. Probably will take us to October at this rate. We are still at part 17, and we might probably get to part 50. But what are we discussing? Basically discussing the what, the why, and how to export to Nigeria. The what, the why, and how to export to Nigeria. This series is going to tell us what we can export to Nigeria, which is what I'm discussing right now. Right now we're on the subsection or subtopic. What does Nigeria buy from abroad? And we have discussed so many things that Nigeria buys from abroad. And this morning we are discussing another very important thing, and it's called vegetable products. Vegetable products. In these vegetable products, we have about 1.84, about 2 billion, about roughly 2 billion import is being done for this vegetable product. What do we mean by vegetable product? We're talking about wheat. We're talking about corn. We're talking about malt. We're talking about apple. We're talking about rice. We're talking about starch. We're talking about vegetable sap. We're talking about dry legumes. We're talking about spices. We're talking about belly. We're talking about pepper. We're talking about wheat gluten. We're talking about grape. We're talking about sorghum. We're talking about oat. These are all different food items grouped together as vegetable products. Remember, this is about $2 billion. About $2 billion. Now, it might interest you to note that of these $2 billion, almost 75%, almost 75% is wheat. And Nigeria can produce wheat. Almost 75% is wheat. Almost 75% is wheat. That means Nigeria spent $1.75 billion to import wheat. $1.75 billion to import wheat. $1.75 billion to import wheat. That is interesting. That is amazing. That is intriguing. $1 billion is 360 billion naira. $1 billion is 360 billion naira. So Nigeria is spending over 500 billion naira, almost 600 billion naira, importing wheat. That is a lot. That is a lot. And if you check other product, almost all other products on this list are produced in Nigeria, can be produced in Nigeria, or currently being produced in Nigeria. But you know what? Nigeria still import them anyway. Nigeria still import them anyways. Most unfortunate, but we do the import. We do the importation. 1.75 billion on wheat alone. So the question is, why are we not doing exporting all these other agri products? Most likely because we are also not taking agri very seriously. I was at the conference over the weekend, no, last week, towards the end of last week, and indeed, I know, agri has gone beyond, agri business has gone beyond what many people see it to be today. Agribusiness has gone beyond what many people see it to be today. Agribusiness now is not just planting, animal husbandry or cropping or livestock. Agri is now a serious business with a lot of scientific input, such that if you really want to do the business, if you really want to grow the business, if you don't put those things in place, those scientific input, all that science has done to make it now more precise. You know, there are a lot of precision now in agri. So much precision. So much precision, because it then makes it easy for people to invest and be sure of what they are investing in, and be sure that, okay, indeed, this is profitable. No unnecessary guesses here and there again. This is profitable. No unnecessary guesses. No unnecessary guesses here and there. You know, before now, people do a lot of guesswork with agri. People do a lot of guesswork with agri. But in today's world, no. If we don't do our agri that way, we will not be competitive. Maybe that explains the reason why we have not been able to do much in the agri space. Maybe that explains the reason why we have not been able to do much in the agri space. But you know what? The kind of product being imported, the kind of product being imported, the kind of product being imported lay credence to the fact that Nigeria must begin to do something more in the agri space. Lay credence to the fact that Nigeria and Nigerians must begin to do more in the agri space. So agri is no more what we used to think. Agri is no more what we used to think. I'm coming for a program.
Sorry, sir?
I'm coming for a program, a seminar.
Okay.
Agri is no more what we used to think. Agri is now much more than just planting, like I said. If you are not very precise and you do not apply science, and your competitor is applying science, which makes them now much more which make them much more increasing their yield, I'm sorry. That makes it very difficult for you to be able to take huge advantage of what agri can offer in our world today. I'm basically saying that even though, sorry, I'm trying to park and I'm having a lot of distraction. I'm basically trying to say that even though it's agric, it's farming, but you know what? It's agric, it's farming, but you know what? If you do not do what you need to do in terms of precision in farming, using the right farming input, minimizing your cost, increasing your yield, you will not be profitable. And I think that's one of the challenges we have. You know, I noticed that the agric that Nigeria is able to produce and export mainly are agric that are unique to West Africa. The one we are able to produce and export are unique to West Africa. So you see Nigeria producing a lot. So we have a lot being produced, but for one strange reason, despite the fact that we produce a lot, we are unable to export them. Why? Because of our cost of production, because of our productivity level, low yield. All these are contributing significantly to what Nigeria has become today. So I'm basically saying that we need to do something serious about it. Because when you see that, the fact that we are spending billions, so that means this billion could be conserved and created as wealth locally. Because imagine if this is produced in Nigeria. Imagine if this is produced in Nigeria. You will be shocked at how much job that will be created, how much wealth. But the people that are in Nigeria, number one, we're not even producing enough. Because if you're producing enough, government can say, okay, you need to use the one locally. I'm not sure we're even producing enough to meet that local demand. Wheat, number one. Number two, corn. Corn is about $200 million. $200 million. Malt, about $60 million. $60 million. Apple, about $40 million. $40 million. Apple, about $40 million. Starch, about 30, sorry. About $30 million. Tea, about $20 million. About $20 million. Tea, about $20 million. Vegetable, about $20 million. Pepper, about $10 million. About $10 million. About $10 million. All these are the potential that Nigerian business have in this space, of which you can take huge advantage of it, but we have not been able to take advantage of it. And like I said, we're not taking advantage of it because of the challenge we have in being able to manage our cost. But the important thing is that these are food items we import into Nigeria. But now, in the bid to ensure we increase production of this product, you know what has happened? The government have said there will be rationing of provision of FX. There will be rationing of provision of FX for Nigerian businesses. There will be rationing of provision of FX for Nigerian businesses that import food items. Government is basically trying to discourage everyone from being importer of food item. And government is saying, don't import food item. Government is saying, don't import food item. Let's begin to produce the food item locally. 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 We have what it takes to produce locally. I strongly believe that government can make us to produce locally, and it's good for us, because if government make us to produce it locally, government can then ensure that the local firm also buy from Nigeria and sell in Nigeria. They might not be able to export it, but at least it will help us locally. We can maximize our own. And then government prevent import of competing product, because if government force them to produce locally and people are still able to import it, that will not work. That will not work. So what would be the use in the first place? That will not work. That will not work. That will not work. In fact, it will discourage a lot of people from even wanting to do it. Reason being that they will be forced to do what they don't want to do. What do I mean by that? They'll be forced to, government will be saying, okay, you must, what's the name? Produce locally. So you must buy a raw material locally, and government encourage and supporting people to produce. But government also will have to prevent people from importing finished product made from these raw materials. Look at rice, for example. Government stop people from importing rice and say we should produce rice locally. Brilliant idea. Lovely idea. But what has happened? What has happened? What has happened? Importation of rice into Benin has been on the increase. And those rice are being smuggled into Nigeria. Importation of rice into Benin has been on the increase. And those rice are being smuggled into Nigeria. That is what will happen when we say people must. That's what will happen when we say people must buy from us, buy locally, and then we are not empowering them, encouraging them to begin to do something in reducing their cost locally. We are not encouraging them, we are not empowering them to begin to do locally, reduce your cost locally. If we don't, and I think one thing government can do is to do subsidy. Subsidy is one thing government can do. If government is able to subsidize, we subsidize petrol. But a lot of people that use petrol are rich. In fact, most people that buy petrol are rich. If you want to help the lower cadre in the country, subsidize the production of food, so that people don't spend more than half of their salary to buy food. If people don't send more than half of their salary to buy food, they have more disposable income. You might not be increasing salary, but you are reducing their cost of living and enhancing their savings, which is what government is all about anyway, encouraging, helping the people to reduce their cost of living. So I strongly believe that government should subsidize farming. Government should subsidize farming. Government should subsidize agro-processing, especially for SMEs. Government should subsidize agro-packaging, especially for SMEs. So that it becomes a lot easier to create the job we are looking for. So that it becomes a lot easier to support the local industry and factory. So that it becomes easier to grow this economy. We have what it takes, no doubt. 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 We just need to get our ass together and put our house in order. Get our ass together and put our house in order. I will be running off now because I'm going for a training. Thank you very much for listening again today. This evening I'll be rounding off on what Nigeria imports from abroad. I'll be discussing weapons importation and wood product importation this evening. Then tomorrow I'll move on to trade environment. Tomorrow I'll move on to trade environment. Having educate my listeners in what they can import into Nigeria, the next thing is to know who are those you are going to be dealing with when you are importing into Nigeria. What do you need to know about them when you are importing into Nigeria? Will you be able to manage them very well and still be able to import well enough so at the end of the day, you can import profitably. Thank you very much for listening. See you in the evening as I round off what does Nigeria import from abroad. Bye for now.